Alright guys, welcome. The very interesting article here from the Hollywood Reporter. Actually, let's just kind of look at the title. Basically, it details feelings don't matter, how the Ellison era is transforming Paramount. Really interesting article. But what's interesting that's hidden in there is Tom Cruise basically got the hump with Ellison and Paramount and was like, what? You want me to do what? Yeah. It's interesting. It's a sort of like accountability and responsibility David Ellison was putting on stars, and just generally, Paramount, all of the workers. No, you're going to be held accountable for this, or this is your responsibility. And Tom Cruise really didn't like that. So this is funny. It's quite comical, and I just thought we'd take a look at it. We're not going to look at the whole article. There's like the key little bits and pieces that I want to pick out. We'll kind of get to that. Check it out if you want. It's a very good article. And just this, it's a brand new day at the Legacy Studio where prestige films are out, testosterone heavy tent poles are in, and Brett Ratner is back on the call sheet. You can see Hollywood is just seething about this. So that's the take. Hollywood seethes as they're put in their place, basically. That is what this entails. So, anyway, I thought it was interesting. Before we do, if you're a returning viewer that isn't subscribed, please do hit subscribe. And I hope you're having a fantastic December, the festive season, as it were. Anyway, so scroll. Literally, there's so much in this. Just scroll to this. Even before Ellison took over, there were signs that the studio was changing. Paramount was among the first to kill its DEI policies. Good. And after the Ellison era began, it became the first to publicly push back against the growing anti-Israel sentiment in Hollywood. I mean, that's neither here nor there. I'm an Englishman. I don't care. Ellison also has been willing to empower once cancelled male executives as well as those who are eager to assert their influence after being denied top jobs at other companies. Brilliant. Cool. Whatever. Who cares? This quote's funny though. There is an arrogance at the film studio that has caught the town by the surprise. Oh no! Someone confident and not kowtowing and bowing to wet, limp-wristed douchebags. Oh no! See? The air of Hollywood just seething. It's just so pathetic. It really is. What some see as arrogance, others characterise as a much-needed shift. Yeah, good. Remaking a struggling studio that was deprived of resources for years. That's the thing, right? You sat there going, well, is it arrogance? Or is it them, confident about what they're doing moving forwards? Was it really massively successful? No, it wasn't. Right. So what they were doing wasn't working. So change is good. Not all change, obviously. But yeah, fine. Anyway, scroll through some of this as well. They talk about like Rush Hour 4. That's quite comical. Because apparently the ins and outs of why Rush Hour 4 was being made was because Trump was going to give the okay for the Paramount buying Warner Brothers deal. Just bizarre. We live in a very strange time. But it's funny. It is funny. Like this. David likes to hire people who he thinks were devalued. The underdog. Yeah. People love an underdog. One early example. Skydance hired legendary Pixar chief John Lasseter after he resigned from Disney at the height of the Me Too movement, following allegations of inappropriate behaviour. Yeah, because he hugged people. Amazing. Brilliant. Anyway, we'll scroll through some more of this. I don't really care too much about this. But then we go to this. A culture clash is almost guaranteed when putting together a team of ambitious executives who have long thought they deserved more power than Hollywood has afforded them. Greenstein, who had a previous stint at Paramount as marketing and distribution head before decamping for Sony in 2014 and rising to co-president at the Motion Picture Group, waited in the wings for years to succeed Sony film chief Tom Rothman, but was thwarted when the elder executive re-upped his deal this year. He's a man's man, famous for his golfing outings. Is that really man? Is that golf? No shade to golf, but it's not manly. All right. One go-to partner is Mark Wahlberg and drives a lifted truck to accommodate his mountain bike, another one of his passions. Granger, meanwhile, spent years at Paramount as a production executive, so this is just talking about who he hired. But this is the interesting thing, including working on a number of Tom Cruise films. So, what's this news, this information about Tom Cruise? This is where this is the seething part of Hollywood in general. Oh, God, it's so funny. Genuinely comical. So we've got to scroll again all the way through all of this. Okay, right. So, though Larry Ellison's bromance with Trump might get the most media attention, David Ellison himself has a much more crucial business bromance with Cruise. The mogul has heaped praise upon the star, with whom he has made 10 films, including installments of Mission Impossible and Top Gun Maverick. Privately, though, the relationship has not always been smooth sailing. According to two sources, Cruise grew unhappy with Ellison. So this is like, to me, this in a nutshell encapsulates Skydance and Paramount's new directive moving forwards, right? So Cruise grew unhappy with Ellison not long after Robbins came aboard at the top of Paramount in 2021. During a meeting about the final 2 Mission Impossible films, Cruise said he needed tens of millions of dollars in additional production funds. And Ellison turned around and suggested that Cruise find some of the money on his own. I mean, those movies have not actually broken a profit. The latest one was a bomb. It's just like, well, find it by yourself, mate. You're a multi-millionaire. Find your own money. From then on, multiple sources say Cruise wouldn't attend any production or marketing meetings if Ellison was in the room. Hollywood just seethes at being put in their place, don't they? You've got this actor who, yeah, is a great actor, right? But, and people say, well, he single-handedly saved theatre. He didn't. And he has made good movies, but he didn't save Hollywood. He hasn't saved cinema. That's a mantle people have just projected onto him. He didn't save cinema, okay? At all. And those Mission Impossible films were not hugely successful. And so he comes to Ellison, David Ellison. He's like, look, I need tens of millions of dollars, please. And David Ellison's like, well, no, you can find some of the money by yourself. And from then on, like, Tom Cruise has a temper tantrum. How pathetic. How pathetic. So funny. But even then, still, the Robbins regime ultimately caved to Cruise's demands, coughing up more dough. Brilliant. And sources close to Skydance dispute there was any such rift. Well, they would do that. But that's hilarious because that movie wasn't successful anyway. So well done. Good job. But Cruise is eager to get Top Gun 3 off the ground. He's also seeking a home for his deep sea disaster adventure that reportedly sports a production budget north of $200 million. Warner Brothers, where Cruise has a deal, and Universal have passed. Sources confirm that Cruise recently went to the Paramount lot to pay his respects to the new leadership, which would seem to mean he no longer is at odds with Ellison. And if Ellison gets his way and buys Warner's, which isn't happening anyway, but never mind, Cruise won't be the only one having to acquiesce to a new cultural order. So there you go. There's so much more in this, but it's so funny. Basically, just Hollywood seething that, David Ellison dare make masculine films again. It's like, oh God, you're making, like, what was it? Was it Splinter Cell or Call of Duty or something like that? Like, such a Call of Duty movie, like nonsense stuff. They're like, oh, you're making that. Yes, this is comedy gold. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts, so drop it down below. Bye-bye now.